You are listening to a free version of the Majority Report with Sam Steeder. To support this show and get another 15 minutes of daily program, go to majority.fm, please.
The Majority Report with Sam Steeder.
It is Wednesday, November 21st, 2018. My name is Sam Steeder. This is the 5-time award-winning Majority Report. We are broadcasting live steps from the industrially ravaged Gowanus Canal in the heartland of America, downtown Brooklyn, USA. On the program today, New York Times reveals Donald Trump wanted to prosecute Comey and Clinton as recently as the spring of 2018. Meanwhile, what's that?
I've grown a lot since then.
Yeah, it's all changed. I'm much more mature. Meanwhile, Trump wants to pardon Mohammed bin Salman. And his acting DOJ, Matt Whitaker, up until last year, was living off of the conservative dole. Who was paying? We may never know. Trump administration allows Kentucky to add work requirements to Medicaid again. And don't eat romaine lettuce unless you're a libertarian and don't believe in the FDA. Meanwhile, Nancy Pelosi runs circles around Seth Moulton and will retain leadership. Migrant family separation cost $80 million. Add that to the tens upon tens of millions for our military going down to the border. And America is being made great again. And buckle up, folks. It's starting to look like the Trump recession is forming. Meanwhile, progressives are seeking committee power in Congress, as so they should. And lastly, we're anticipating the potential for a special guest today. We will also get to your calls early. It could very well be a Freebie Wednesday today, folks. All this and more on today's program. I'm not going to lie, ladies and gentlemen. I am not feeling well. Today was one of those mornings where, in retrospect, you wake up and you're like, what were we thinking? Why didn't we do a pre-tape today? There's no one. I mean, I have a feeling Brendan and Matt are both looking at me like, we had that thought. We had that thought well in advance. Well, no one articulated it to me. I'll just tell you that right now. But people are, but I am sensitive to the fact that people are driving to places today and tomorrow for Thanksgiving. Maybe you're getting on a plane. I hope for your sake you're not. Pain in the arse on a day like today. But so we thought that you would enjoy a little bit of politics and entertainment today on your ride home. That's the theory. There will be no live show tomorrow, and on Friday we will have a pre-recorded interview. But we will be up on YouTube Live. We have or in real time, I guess.
A YouTube premiere. So the live chat's going to be there for everybody.
There you go. So
community. That's what it's about.
And meanwhile, hopefully I will feel better by then. We're going to get into some of the stuff of the show, but before we do, 2018, as you know, has been a difficult year for human rights. But have you ever wondered how rights abuses are documented around the world? You probably have, with the sheer volume of global crisis we're seeing, from civilian casualties in Syria to ethnic cleansing in Myanmar to the caging of children on U.S. borders. It's critical we expose the truth in order to defend the rights of all, bring those responsible to justice. Well, if you've been listening to this program for any period of time, really going back to when I was on AM Talk Radio, you will know that Human Rights Watch does just that. They are an independent, nonprofit organization known for their accurate fact-finding, impartial reporting, and targeted advocacy. They often do so in partnership with local activists and human rights groups. They accept no money from any government, but rely on the support of informed, dedicated people just like you. Matt, you had mentioned to me, was it yesterday, about a Human Rights Watch report?
Yeah, Human Rights Watch did some work on Airbnb, pulling out of, I think, parts of Israel because of their anti-Palestinian or no Palestinian options.
I mean, they're all over the place and covering all of this stuff that's hugely important, and nobody else will do it, frankly. So if human rights are important to you, visit hrw.org/majority to make a donation and support its vital work around the world. When you do, not only is your gift a tax deduction, it will be matched dollar for dollar until 2019. That means your donation will go twice as far to advance justice and defend the basic dignity of people who need it most. Again, that's hrw.org/majority. I almost want to, every now and then I get that idea of like, what if I had the ability to actually, I wielded any power other than occasionally getting people to work on the show to show up here in the office. And I do mean occasionally. Incidentally, Michael and Jamie, I have no idea where they are. But I think one of the things that I would do if I ever achieved a dictatorial power in this country, it would be to suggest that if you have any type of television program, you really aren't allowed to have political guests on and allow them to say things about politics unless you're going to critically think about them. Right? It's one thing to say like, oh, we're going to have, we're going to have Newt Gingrich on to find out what makes this guy tick. I don't know that I would watch that. I already know the answer. He's running a grift. But that's much better than allowing him to actually run the grift. Stephen Colbert had on last night Nebraska Senator Ben Sasse, who is, a bit of a poser, I think is the way to put it, right? I mean, he's sort of... and look, if you want to have Ben Sasse on and ask him, I don't particularly like it when people are, politicians are humanized that much. But I understand. Okay, fine. Some people I say should not be humanized. Like Dick Cheney. You should not humanize him in any way. I don't even care if it's like a depiction of him as a bad human. I think you should not humanize him. But when Ben Sasse gets on and starts espousing political ideology and you leave it unquestioned, and it's annoying and it's detrimental long term. Here's Ben Sasse on Stephen Colbert's show.
How would we find out if she did that?
We should know all that we can know.
Pause it for 1 second. This is Ben Sasse giving a very specific answer on Ivanka Trump's emails. Now, do I think Ivanka Trump's emails are a big deal? No, we obviously have a problem with like the way that we organize this stuff. And, clearly it was big enough for essentially the entire establishment media to make a narrative of it and for the Republicans to do literally 6 investigations about Hillary Clinton. But leaving that aside, here's Ben Sasse, who refuses to take a position on it, but seemingly reasonable.
How would we find out if she did that?
We should know all that we can know.
Congressional investigation. Okay. Yeah. Seriously, really?
Well, I don't know the particulars of this story.
And how would you find out the particulars of the story? Perhaps with a
So it turns out there are 3 branches of government. Okay. They're supposed to check and balance one another. So
how has that been going the last 2 years, the check and the balance thing over there? Because it sounds like a lot of check. I think we lost the balance somewhere along the line.
The Congress doesn't work well.
It doesn't. Okay, here's the thing. Is that something, because that's something that we could agree on. The Congress doesn't seem to be working well. How long have you actually been in the Senate now?
Almost 4 years.
4 years. What do you think the problem is? Why doesn't the Congress function the way that I think the founders intended?
Yeah, so
Pause it for 1 second. This is a very easy question for people to answer. Why has Congress not functioned the way that it's supposed to in terms, and they're talking check and balance, they're talking about oversight of the executive branch. Now, the answer is quite easy. It is because the Republican Party has controlled both of those branches. And the Republican Party has, over the past 20, 25 years, in addition to being ideologically problematic from my perspective, but functionally in terms of Congress, have been totally derelict. And they are a death cult. And death cults don't really care about good government and accountability. But let's see what Ben Sasse thinks.
Congress function the way that I think the founders intended.
Yeah, so I mean, I think in 230 years of U.S. history, the Congress is probably at its second weakest moment. The founders didn't have a vision of the world where people wanted to be in politics, move to D.C. and stay there forever. You're supposed to think the place where you're from is the most interesting place in the world. And we use the term historically public service because you go to Washington to serve for a time and you're supposed to go back home. Right now, most people in Washington, their biggest long-term thought is about their own incumbency. They don't want to ever leave that place, and so they don't want to do hard stuff. So there's not a lot of checking and balancing. There's a lot of more kind of parliamentary instinct to defer to people in your own party, and the founders would be confused by that.
Pause it. You know what? The founders would be confused by a lot of things. I mean, this is such a ridiculous argument. There isn't something fundamentally wrong with politicians who want to continue to work in government. The bigger problem is that people leave and then cash in, frankly, on their service. But the idea that the founders would be confused by this, you know what else they'd be confused by? How people actually get to Washington. They fly. Are you telling me they fly in big steel cans? What? Are you serious? What are all these black people doing too?
What is the point he's trying to make about public servants? Like, if you look at that, actually, we call them public servants because you weren't supposed to do it for that long. That doesn't follow at all.
No, you're supposed to go do public service. It's supposed to be something different from having a job. The founding fathers would be absolutely shocked. They'd be absolutely shocked too, frankly, that what are their slaves doing as in the Senate? What is this whole thing where you now popularly elect a senator? What? That's insane. We were supposed to keep some type of power for the landowners.
They wouldn't be that confused by gerrymandering.
No, they wouldn't be that confused by gerrymandering. And what? Again, explain to me this thing where they're flying. We had anticipated the internet. We knew that would happen, but we thought everyone would Skype in. We didn't think they would have the ability to fly. That's absurd. I'm so confused. This is just ridiculous. And Ben Sasse, I'm sorry, can someone point to me that something that Ben Sasse has done that has been provided a check? I mean, this guy's so in touch with the essence of what the founders expected.
He's like Jeff Flake light, kind of. He's not going to go all the way, but he'll give you a little taste. And
I suppose Ben Sasse is going to wrap up his career in 2 years and head back to Nebraska. Is that what we're to believe? Ben Sasse is on his retirement lap right now. But it's annoying to me because right after this, all that Colbert does is move on to the next thing.
Ben Sasse's score here, we have the 538. This is actually fairly useful. The Trump score.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, I would imagine it is quite low, right? Because he has been such a check.
Looks like he's pretty on board with how the balancing's been going.
Oh, really? What's he doing there? He's almost a 90%.
He's a B+ Trumper.
90%. And In fact, he is not less than a point away from his predicted score, based upon how well Trump did. Like his whole thing of it's more parliamentary, that people just subscribe to their own party. He has been there on just about everything. And the only thing he voted...
Tariffs.
Yeah, tariffs and health care, which, of course, he was... unbelievable.
Ben Sasse.
Yeah, so much for Ben Sasse. All right, well, let's get to the story about Khasshogi, because the CIA now has said that they have fairly significant evidence that MBS was aware of this. Now, it also is the most obvious answer that Khasshogi was, Mohammed bin Salman was involved in this. First, let's start with Donald Trump being asked if he's letting MBS get away with murder. And here is Donald Trump's, essentially his statement. I mean, they released another statement that was all about justifying this position, but this is the position.
Are you letting the Saudis get away with murder, murdering a journalist?
This is about America first. They're paying us $400 billion plus to purchase and invest in our country. That's probably the biggest amount ever paid to the United States.
Don't you believe the CIA?
They didn't make a determination. And it's just like I said, I think it was maybe he did, maybe he did. They did not make that assessment. The CIA has looked at it. They've studied it a lot. They have nothing definitive.
Well, I mean, a lot of people are asking, why would it be? Why would Donald Trump be so hesitant to hold the Saudis responsible for this, and particularly MBS? And the argument that it's about jobs and money is obviously bunk. I mean, people have debunked this all over the place. The deal is closer to $28 billion, and it goes to Lockheed Martin, and they're creating less than 1,000 jobs.
Close.
So close. It's so big. So big.
What, do you have $28 billion?
Yeah, I mean, and the number keeps inflating. Even this debunking was every time he mentions the $110 billion arms, today it was $400 billion, wasn't it? It just keeps going up. He just pulls a number out. The
dynamic scoring.
The more accurate answer as to what is motivating Donald Trump, I think, possibly could be found in a May 19th, 2018 piece in the New York Times by Mark Mazzetti, Ronan Bergman, and David Kirkpatrick. Headline: Trump Jr. and other aides meet with Gulf emissary offering help to win election. Donald Trump Jr., the president's eldest son, 3 months before the 2016 election, was part of a small group gathered at Trump Tower. One of the people there was an Israeli specialist in social media manipulation. Another was an emissary for two wealthy Arab princes, one of whom, those Arab princes, was Mohammed bin Salman. The third was Eric Prince from Blackwater. The emissary, George Nader, said that the princes who led Saudi Arabia and the UAE were eager to help his father win the election. They made some type of deal. The Israeli social media guy ended up getting paid a couple $1 million after the election. Nader was brought in multiple times into the campaign. Not the type of profile that you would have if your offer of help was rejected. But the question becomes like, is Donald Trump really the type of person to get help being elected and then just be incredibly loyal? For instance, let's say you were the first senator who came out and supported Donald Trump. Would he be loyal to you even if you killed somebody? And your name was Jeff Sessions? I think the answer would probably be no. I mean, I don't even think this is like a tit for tat type of situation, the way that Trump is acting. He may have some deal. Donald Trump Jr. may have some deal. Kushner may have some deal. Or the Saudis may have information that would be dangerous for them to share with other people about Donald Trump or Donald Trump Jr. Like, I mean, they made a deal. It is unclear what that deal was. And Donald Trump's loyalty is been proven time and time again to not necessarily be super
loyal.
deep.
The most loyal.
It's very strange. It's very strange what's going on here. Now, I will say that a lot of the players who were talked about in this piece, they've already talked to Mueller. Or they have been talking to Mueller. So we will probably find out. I have a feeling when Mueller ends up bringing out his report, if he does, that it's going to be much wider in its range than we anticipate. There may be some elements about Russia. There may be more. I mean, the collusion stuff seems to be pretty much of a slam dunk at this point. When you're trying to prosecute Comey, I mean, I would like to prosecute Comey, but it would be more like under the Cedar bylaws. What do you do if you are a completely craven Republican media person and the CIA has said that MBS was involved. The Turks have said that MBS was involved. Every expert on Saudi Arabia says it's almost inconceivable that a 15-member hit squad would travel to an embassy, chop up a journalist who's an American resident, and MBS wouldn't know about it. What do you do if you are that craven Republican talker? Well, you continue to craven and talk. And here is Hewitt trying to come up with an explanation for how it is that the President of the United States, who's going on and saying, like, I needed to do it for the money. America needs this. Incidentally, not only does America not need Saudi oil, we buy, 10% of our oil from Saudi Arabia? Saudi Arabia could raise the prices of oil internationally by choking off a supply from OPEC. But there's a report out today that, you can see it, Business Insider. Texas is about to create OPEC's worst nightmare. There's been so much drilling that's been going on in this country over the past, even under the Obama administration as well. There are new pipelines that are getting built all over Texas. And in Houston, the U.S. oil capital, shale executives are trying out different superlatives to describe what's coming. Tsunami, they call it. A flooding of biblical portions. An onslaught of supply are phrases that get tossed around. So in other words, Saudi Arabia couldn't be in a weaker position right now. If we are so worried about American oil, Americans' access to oil, then we should be nationalizing those pipelines and those oil refineries. But here's Hugh Hewitt to explain why Donald Trump is doing this.
The CIA has concluded that MBS was behind this murder. This has been reported by our news outlet, NBC News, among a number of others, including the New York Times and the Washington Post. Why is Donald Trump brushing off an assessment by his own intelligence community?
Well, I have to be cautious here because the CIA sometimes is wrong, as it was with its national intelligence estimate about Iran's weapons of mass destruction in 2007. Sometimes reporters, even great ones at my colleagues at the Washington Post and NBC, get fed information by the CIA which is incomplete to advance a narrative by a particular constituency within it.
Are you saying this is a conspiracy to lie to the press and attack the president?
There is often, oh my gosh, the agency often, ask David Ignatius of the Washington Post, they often push out a narrative that they want.
Are you saying that all of the reporters were duped by the CIA at NBC, at the Washington Post, and at the New York Times, and at all the other networks?
Not duped. I would defer to Shane to talk about how the agency
CIA,
works.
Hugh. I mean, it's in line with other intelligence from the Turks and from others. But go on.
Again, Katie, it's very possible that Khashoggi was ordered murdered by MBS.
All right, so pause it for 1 second. So here's the first argument. You can't believe the CIA. Okay, but what about the Turks? Well, you can't believe the Turks and the CIA. What about every other assessment that's come from any other expert on this? Well, okay, it's possible. I've done enough. I've laid that little patch of doubt. But wait a second. Let me move on to a different argument. I'm going to retreat to another argument, Katie, if I could.
Ordered murdered by MBS. Very possible. What the president said today when he was going to the helicopter was to put into context that the Saudi Arabian relationship is very important. In the statement today, the very important second paragraph is about the real enemy in the Middle East, which is Iran, which is the greatest state exporter of terrorism in the world and has murdered hundreds of Americans in conflict in Iraq. Saudi Arabia matters to us because they're in alliance with the UAE, with Jordan, Egypt, Israel, and the United States. MBS is not Saudi Arabia. You've heard people like Lindsey Graham and others tell the president to be too invested in the crown prince, but he is being very strategic. So
he's being very strategic in protecting MBS by also protecting Saudi Arabia because it's so key to our relationship. Here is Sean Hannity doing the B team version of the same argument. They're doing both the fake intellectual and just the blowhard version of this exact same talking point. Here's how Sean Hannity delivers that talking point.
That said, I believe MBS did know and probably ordered the killing of this Jamal Khashoggi. Here's the problem we have. Yeah. World War II, we had to align with a mass murderer by the name of Joseph Stalin to defeat Hitler. Right. We didn't like that alliance either. Right now, we have a historic moment where U.S., Israel, Egypt, Jordan, the Emirates, the Saudis are now perfectly aligned against Iranian hegemony and the threats of them getting a nuclear weapon with their radical ideology of wanting to destroy the world and America and Israel. Right. I think there should be, I agree with you about sanctions. I agree there needs to be a punishment. But I also agree with the president. Yeah. We should not end this relationship.
So apparently alienating Saudi Arabia is the functional equivalent of allowing the Nazis to continue to create a huge empire that threatens all of Europe and, frankly, the entire world. The other thing, I mean, what's fascinating about this is if this was the reverse, the Republicans were talking about how weak the U.S. government is now, that we cannot, at the very least, just force MBS out. That we are so weak that the Saudis are now pulling us around by our tail. This frame, I think, is silly, but it's certainly the one that the Republicans would use. And I think the problem with this is self-evident. I mean, if you basically say this coalition to fight the Iranian threat is too big to fail, then what can you prevent them from doing? Where does this end? It's just absurd. And it will have no implications on anything. No Republican voter cares about this. They don't care.
They don't all think that Iran equals Nazi Germany?
Oh, no, they all do. That's why they won't care about the killing of this
I see what you're
the Washington Post columnist.
But I feel like even they don't really care. The actual voters don't care that much about Iran.
No, I don't think they do. Not as much as this is not. This is like the flip side, right? This is the Iran demonization helps Trump's position in this, not vice versa. Usually they're doing stuff to demonize Iran. This, they have to expend some of the demonization cachet to protect whatever it is Donald Trump is so hell-bent on protecting. It's
I look forward to Hugh Hewitt dedicating the rest of his career to CIA watching.
Yeah, exactly. He's super skeptical of them. All right, let's move to the other story about the leadership of the Democrats in the House. The coalition of 16 letter signers has already fallen apart. God bless you. Has already fallen apart. Apparently, at least one guy, Higgins from New York, has decided that he is going to rescind his signature on that letter. That is important because the magic number was 15. 15 votes against Pelosi could be afforded as of now. It may be. The Democrats picked up a House seat in Utah and in, I think it was California was the second one. There was two of them. The Mia Love seat, and then there was a second seat that the AP had called, or maybe the AP had called that one. Nevertheless, there's at least about 15 votes that Nancy Pelosi can afford to let people take based upon their on their promise to their voters. And all of this is blown up in Seth Moulton's face, showing at the very least that Nancy Pelosi is pretty good at what she does when it comes to, at the very least, twisting arms and getting votes for what she wants and knowing where and when she can get them. Seth Moulton now has a Seth Moulton problem. He was holding a town hall in Amesbury on the North Shore up near the New Hampshire line, more or less where you would go if it was a Sunday and you needed to do a packy run because of the blue laws in Massachusetts. And you would shoot across the border, pick up some booze, come back, party for a football game, let's say. Seth Moulton announcing his opposition to Nancy Pelosi. Apparently, he didn't check this out with his constituents.
The majority of Americans want this change. The majority of Democrats want this change. We want this.
And we just don't like Washington, get rid of everybody, put this guy in, and it feels like you don't think there's a skill set necessary.
And apparently that constituent was onto something because he certainly didn't have the skill set. He was backing off the letter very quickly, saying how he didn't write it. There were other members in the dark hiding out who were afraid.
A letter was written.
And then he goes on to compare Nancy Pelosi to Margaret Thatcher, which I think from an ideological standpoint is wrong, and also from a historical standpoint, what he discussed was also wrong. And it didn't seem to do very well politically with his own constituents. Here he is.
Someone told me the story recently of Margaret Thatcher. Sort of the same, it's a different system of government, but the same sort of thing where you go to the floor of Parliament to get the votes to be elected Prime Minister. And she had served several terms, and then a lot of people said, Prime Minister, it's time for a change. And she said, no, I'm going to stick with it. And then they said, well, Prime Minister, you don't have votes. And she said, no, it doesn't matter. I'm going to go to the floor. I'm going to drag this out. I'm going to twist arms and I'm going to get the vote anyway. And so she did that. So she went to the floor and she twisted arms, and she didn't have the votes. And then they elected a new prime minister. And everything went on, and people were excited about the new prime minister. And that's okay. Like, that's how...
That is the strangest... First off, what happened with Margaret Thatcher is her own party. She didn't have the votes amongst her own party. Nancy Pelosi clearly has the majority of Democrats in favor of her, even prior to the opposition falling apart.
To the point where she's like almost orchestrating the opposition.
Well, you need 218 votes. She had the vast majority of Democratic votes, even if she didn't get to 218, right? Thatcher lost confidence. Her own party lost confidence in her. In this instance, you're talking about maybe 10% of the Democrats wanting to vote against her. So that analogy was wrong. And just the analogy of like, and they got a new prime minister and everything was fine. Well, it was a pretty dramatic change. Margaret Thatcher was horrible.
It's like a fifth grade civics lesson.
It really is. I'm going to do something that hopefully you won't pick up on how condescending it is as I tell you this story.
My understanding is Thatcher was booted because she wasn't pro-Europe enough.
Is that right?
By like the John Major types.
That's very possible. She wasn't moving into the 21st century. All right, let's play this, and then we'll start taking some phone calls. Here, let's take this. Let's take a phone call right now. Oh. You're calling from a...
Hello?
Hello?
Hey, yeah, I'd like to order 12 pairs of the Quaker Factory drawstring pants in the pullover top with the Jesus Christ applique in all the colors. I'd like them in teal, bone, midnight blue, ochre, all of them. I'm treating myself. I'm treating myself for doing so well in the debate last night. Listen, do you need my loyalty card number?
I think you might have
QVC.
Who is this?
This is QVC. This is Cindy Hyde-Smith. My number is 2249. My code word is white makes right. This is QVC.
Wait a second. Cindy Hyde-Smith,
this is
running
Cindy
for...
Hyde-Smith from Mississippi. MISSISSIPPI. Listen, so I'm treating myself. I'd like to order the Quaker Factory drawstring pants with the over top with the applique.
Well, no, wait a second.
Hello,
this
is this QVC?
No, this is not QVC, but I'm glad you called in.
Who is this? Who am I talking to?
My name is Sam Cedar.
Who am I talking to? Is this a joke? Is this some kind of a joke? QVC.
No, this is not QVC.
Who is this?
I keep telling you, my name is Sam Cedar, and we actually, coincidentally, we're talking about politics, and so I'm glad to have you on the.
Well, you listen to me, Liev, or whatever your name is. I don't know what's going on here.
Liev.
I'm trying to order. Do you know who this is? This is. Listen to me.
I'm listening.
I am trying to order 12 pairs of the drawstring pants and overtop from Quaker Factory.
I don't have any Quaker Factory pants, but
you sound like what are you on the East Coast? You liberal? What's going on here?
Well, I am on the East Coast, yes, and yes, I'm of the left, as it were. But it's interesting. We were just talking about your debate, or just about to talk about your debate.
Oh my God, the debate! I'll tell you what. I even put a Ziploc bag over my own head so I could neither see nor hear myself in the silent debate. But I'm pretty sure I won. That's why I'm ordering all the drawstring pants as an early to treat myself for the holidays. Mike Espy didn't know whether he was coming or going after that one.
Well, it turns out we actually have some clips from last night from the debate. Now, my understanding
I don't want to hear it. That's why I put the bag over my head. Nobody's supposed to hear it.
Well, we have a couple of clips here. Let's. Do you mind if we play them and ask you about them?
Okay, but I'm not going to listen. I'm not going to listen. I also wanted to order the luxury rope because we're going to have some Christmas hangings.
The luxury rope? I don't even know what that product
at our
is.
house. My husband, Cattleman Mike, and I like to have some hangings. We're having Thanksgiving with Arpaio is coming and Ray Moore's coming. He loves to carve the turkey. And we're also going to slaughter some cattle, but we're not going to eat them.
Okay. Why aren't you going to eat
I'm just going to make a list. If you play your clips or whatever, listen to me, Judah. I don't know what y'all are doing over there, but I'm going to keep making a list of some things I need from the QVC, so you play whatever you need to play.
Okay, well, let's play this first clip. Which one should we play first, Matt? Yeah, this is from the debate. Here is a clip now.
Of myself and Mr. Espy.
Yes, exactly. And this is this is.
How did you get clips? How did you get anything from that debate? That was a silent auction.
Well, I understand. I'm not even sure how did we get clips of this debate, Matt?
C-SPAN.
Oh, C-SPAN. Yeah. And
what now?
Here is and this is where she looks down at her. No, no. Which one is this one?
Who's
okay,
Who's
I'm talking to Matt. I'm sorry. Okay, well, let's hear.
This is where she addresses the public.
Yeah, this is where you address the comment that you made about the public hanging. Here it is.
Listen, that was a very dear friend of mine.
Oh, pause it. I'm sorry.
Who had lost their parents tragically at the hands of black people.
Wait. Excuse me.
What?
No, here. Well, let's just play your apology, and then you can respond to it. How's that?
Explain and or apologize tonight.
You know, at a campaign event, I had the opportunity to visit with a supporter who has a big piece of my heart. See, his mother and dad both died of cancer when he was in high school. So to express my deep regard and my sincere commitment to this young man, I used a phrase. I told him that I would fight a circle saw for him. Well, obviously, I would not stick my arm in a circle saw, nor did any of my comments ever mean that I would enjoy any type of capital punishment sitting there witnessing this. You know, for anyone that was offended by my comments, I certainly apologize. There was no ill will, no intent whatsoever in my statements. In nearly 20 years of service, of being your state senator, your commissioner of agriculture, and your U.S. senator, I have worked with all Mississippians. It didn't matter their skin color type, their age, or their income. That's my record. There has never been anything, not one thing in my background to ever indicate I had ill will toward anyone. I've never been hurtful to anyone. I've always tried to help everyone. I also recognize that this comment was twisted and it was turned into a weapon to be used against me.
When I ordered the Quacker Factory Confederate flag loungewear, everybody was all upset. Confederate flag. Listen, I'll tell you what, though, Sam, the South's going to do it again.
Well,
but my dear friend, he's got a big piece of my heart, and I was just so tickled when we got the chance to talk. You've heard phrases, Sam. Phrases, that's one spicy meatball. I can't believe I ate the whole thing. Where's the beef? It's all in the same. It's in the same Western canon of popular phrases and things that Guy Fieri has said.
Guy Fieri. Well, now wait a second. You didn't refer to capital punishment. You referred to a public hanging, and
hence the luxury. Yeah, public. It's a phrase, Sam, like hashtag worth it. You know, whatever people say. Listen, there's no ill will. That is so. You know, when I wear my Confederate clothes and when I do the reenactments, it's all in good fun. My record shows that. Listen, Sam, we got enough problems down here in Mississippi. Everybody's talking about the wildfires in California and crazy California and La La Land. But you know what we have here in Mississippi? No. We got droughts. We got storms. We have black people. We have potholes in the roads. We have all kinds of problems here. And listen, the last time the storms blew through here, the 99-cent store. We have a lot of 99-cent stores. And the one near my house, the 99-cent store listen to me, the 99-cent store got hit so hard, there was literally $22 worth of damage. That's how much damage was done at the 99-cent store.
Yeah, so
about $22.
That would be about 23 things, I think, would...
Yeah, that's about $22 worth of damage. That's how hard that was hit, the one near my house.
Right.
The 99 cents. Don't even get me started on the Family Dollar store by the Piggly Wiggly, because I'll tell you how hard that was hit, but I'm not going to do that right now. Listen, I'm tired of being accused of things. Excuse me, I'm getting so upset. I got a frog in my throat. Oh, now everybody's going to go crazy because I said I got a frog in my throat. I don't really have a frog in my throat. It's just an expression.
All right. Well, okay. All right. So you
all right. Esau. What is your name again? Esau?
Sam.
Enoch.
Sam.
Rachel.
Not Rachel. Sam.
Bathsheba.
No, not Bathsheba. Nothing from the. Well, I guess Sam is biblical. But,
I hear. There's other people in there in that room with
yes,
you.
there
People
is.
are laughing at me.
Matt and Brendan. No one's laughing at you. Matt and Brendan are here.
What, you think voter suppression is not a good idea? I'm full of good ideas. Voter suppression is a fantastic idea.
Now, wait a second. Now,
I came up with that, or was that Guy Fieri? I don't know. Guy Fieri. I don't know. I don't know who said it, but it's a fantastic idea. I'm having bumper stickers. Suppress it. #suppress.
All right. Well, now, Cindy Hyde-Smith, hold on for 1 second. I want to play this clip of from the Jackson Free Press. It is a tweet. They say, watch, I counted 20 times Cindy Hyde-Smith looked down at 2 large stacks of notes in front of her in just the first 2 questions. Candidates weren't supposed to bring notes with them, but her campaign demanded.
And I didn't have notes. I had my order sheets for the QVC. I was getting ready for my order after I won. I had lists and lists. I'm giving out gifts and things like that. That's what I had. I had in front of me.
All right. Well, let us watch the video, and people can decide for themselves. How's that?
I ain't watching no video. How am I going to watch a video? I'm on the phone trying to talk to people.
Okay, hold on for 1 second. We'll pause it, and we're just going to play it, and we'll expand it.
Get down, children.
Okay.
Yes, this is a wrong-headed policy. People storming our borders. I want to repeal Obamacare. Everything that we will support, I assure you, will include pre-existence conditions.
Pre-existence conditions?
Obamacare, which has been a disaster for health care, ruined rural America. My opponent supports that. At a campaign event, sitting there witnessing this, for anyone that was offended by my comments, I certainly apologize. There was no ill will, no intent whatsoever in my statement. You U.S. Senator,
I have to say,
yeah.
Cindy Hyde-Smith, I'm looking at that video. Now, hold on for 1 second. Excuse me.
Do you know that I work on Meals on Wheels, Sam? I started a program, Meals on Wheels, with my parish in Mississippi. And what we do is we bring food to the homeless and we ask them to pay for it. It teaches them to support themselves.
Now, wait a second. All right, that seems to me to be ridiculous. But I want to get back to that video. You were clearly looking down at your notes. And my name is not
I'm not
Ezra.
looking down at my notes.
You were looking down at your notes and you were reading them. You were reading them. It's clear.
Yeah, I'm going over what. You know what? Samuel, do you ever write down lists of things to do today, things I got to do tomorrow? Remind myself. I would have had Post-its, but I didn't get a chance to go to the office supply store.
But why would you be reading those in the middle of answering your question in a debate if they weren't notes?
The holidays are coming up. I'm spinning a lot of plates in the air. I'm spinning plates, Sam. I got lots to do. It's called multitasking. Multitasking.
So you were reading your list.
Multiple tasks.
I understand what multiple tasking is, but I just want to be clear on this. You were reading notes about what you needed to do to prepare for the holidays, and simultaneously, excuse me?
Nothing.
And answering the question in this debate. That's what you were doing. That's your story.
Yeah, it's called multitasking.
Okay.
I can do more than one thing.
Why would
you're making me? I'm getting so angry. This is such classic liberal nonsense. I don't even know how you got the same number as QVC. I don't even know what's happening.
I think you.
You do not have a big piece of my heart. I'll tell you what. You know what? I'll give you a piece of my colon. If that. If that. In fact, I wouldn't even give you a piece of my colon. And how you can get any malicious intent out of what I'm saying. How you can misinterpret anything about what I'm saying and give it is just talk about ridiculous.
Why did it take you so long to apologize?
Because really I have nothing to apologize for. Listen, my dear friend's parents died when he was in high school from black people giving him cancer. So that is what
black people giving him cancer. How did black people give his parents cancer?
Do your homework. You'll figure it out. South's going to do it again. Get down, children. Gather round, children. Get loud. South's going to do it again. So, can I make my order now?
All right. Yes, sure.
Okay. So you got the order for the 12 Quacker Factory
12
lounge pants?
Quacker Factory
And overtime.
lounge pants. Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
Quacker Factory. They make the best stuff. Have you seen Quacker Factory?
I have not.
Oh, they have and they have wonderful, wonderful things. But anyway, so what is this thing you're doing over? Where are you?
All right, we're in Brooklyn. This is not QVC. We're doing.
Oh boy, it's all happening in Brooklyn. Woo! The Urban Outfitters in Williamsburg. It's the best. Woo!
Well, we're not near Williamsburg, and I have not been to an Urban Outfitters in probably 20 years. But we are in. We're closer to Gowanus, and we're doing a political talk show from the left. Yes.
Gowanus. Oh, right. We have to use the indigenous First Nation tribe name. We have to call it Gowanus after the Indians, who so cruelly tried to massacre the white people as they tried to build their homes and bring Jesus to the land. The Indians, the Red Indians. Now, how you're going to misinterpret that? Oh, what did she say now?
Well,
she said Red Indians.
What you said was
massacring white folks as
Right.
they were trying to bring Jesus to the land.
Right. All those things you said were as offensive.
Do you know how big a piece of my heart the Red Indian has?
No, I don't.
Big piece of my heart.
They have a big piece of your heart, but why would you
They have
then?
a big piece of my heart. No ill will. How you could misinterpret and imply any negative intent to what I just said about the Red Indians massacring the white people who were just trying to build a home and bring Jesus to the land. Next, you're going to say it was wrong to give him smallpox-infested blankets.
Well,
right?
I mean, I think that was wrong.
So bad. That was a bad thing.
Yeah, it was a
They had
bad.
never had smallpox before, Sam. They had never had it before, nor blankets. So you're welcome.
Well, I don't think people want smallpox, even for the first time.
Well, they never had it before, have they? Now they know. You give them a chance to know. No, thank you. I did not want smallpox. Now I know. Thank you. Thank you, white people, and thank you for the blanket.
I think that's a problem, right? I mean, it was deadly.
I'll tell you what's a problem is that I cannot sell my artisanal moonshine. I'm trying to sell my artisanal moonshine. You know what sounds like Brooklyn might be a place I can get my artisanal moonshine. Actually, I want to talk to you.
No.
Esau, is that your name, Esau?
No, my name is Sam. What?
Sam.
So, Cindy Hyde-Smith, now...
Shoshana?
Excuse me?
Shoshana.
No, Sam. My name is Sam.
Sam. Got it. Sam. I want to talk to you a little bit later on about distribution of my artisanal, small batch, farm-to-table, ethically butchered, bespoke moonshine. I think Brooklyn...
I don't understand any of those things.
And all the proceeds go to the Confederacy.
Now, Cindy Hyde...
Cindy Hyde-Smith.
Listen, Cindy Hyde-Smith...
You should look me up on Wikipedia. You'll learn everything you need to know about me. Just look me up on Wikipedia.
I will do that. What do you think your chances are? Your election, I believe, is in about
on the 27th. My chances are better than good. My chances are better than good. I'm gonna win. You know what I say? I say gerrymander. Jerry, have you met Jerry Mander?
No.
Well, never mind.
Jerry
Governor
Mander
Phil
was
Bryant.
a real person. I mean, I believe, if I'm not mistaken.
No, he's a helpful. He's a helpful man. Listen to me. Governor Phil Bryant knew when he put me in office that I was going to do a good job, and I'm a winner. When I was involved with agriculture and commerce, everybody knew I was a winner. Yes, I have a gap in my bottom teeth, but that is just, I sit my corncob pipe in there. Some people have made fun of that gap in my bottom teeth. Some people have said it looks like I'm on meth. Well, yeah, maybe I have a face like that. Maybe I look like I was born in Butcher's Holler and I was a coal miner's daughter. In fact, I was a coal miner's daughter.
Wait,
What do
you mean? In fact, I mean, were you a coal miner's daughter or no?
Yeah, and I got married when I was 15, started having babies when I was 15. Then I was a country singer for a while. I was called the First Lady of Country.
Is that true?
Then I had a brief sabbatical, and then I got involved in politics. But I was born a coal miner's daughter, And then my first husband's name was Doolittle, and we had lived in Butcher's Holler, and then we moved, and then I had my babies, and then I started singing country. I learned how to play guitar, and I was called the First Lady of Country. And then I stopped, and then I got into politics.
My understanding is that you were back in 2000, you were a member of the Mississippi Senate, and you, in 2010, switched from being a Democrat to a Republican.
I was more of a Dixiecrat, Sam. But yeah, in the 2000s, I was a country singer. I was the First Lady of Country in the 70s and the 80s. I had a great tour bus, and I was known for my wonderful wigs.
Yeah, I don't see how that's possible. What, in the 70s?
'Cause I was born a coal miner's daughter.
I don't think that's you. I think isn't that Loretta Lynn or Tammy
I don't know
Wynette?
who you're talking about. I don't know who you're talking about. You talking about Sissy Spacek? I don't know who you mean. But anyway, Samuel.
She's an actress.
I don't know what you're talking about. You can look me up on Wikipedia. You want to learn about me?
Okay.
South's going to do it again. South's going to do it again.
How many children did you say you had?
Well, I started having my babies when I was 15. My first baby. And I had 4 babies, one after the other. I had a whole bunch of babies.
My understanding is
And
you
I
have
was
one
given
daughter.
a guitar. I was given it. Who are you talking about? That's from my second marriage. My daughter, who is my pride and joy. She has a big piece of my heart. All my kids have a big piece of my heart. All of them. They have all my heart. I don't even have a heart, Sam. I don't have a heart. I keep giving pieces of it away. I'm heartless.
I mean, I
That's
think
how much I give.
I mean, I find that hard to refute. Well, listen.
You going home for Thanksgiving? You celebrate Thanksgiving? You celebrate, you heathens? What are you celebrating? What are you doing? You going home for Thanksgiving, or where you having it, in Brooklyn?
No, I'm going actually up to Massachusetts.
Going up to Massachusetts? Oh, are you that fella at Worcester? Is that you?
Yeah, yes, that is me.
Oh, I think I have heard it. You've been on the MSNBC.
Yes, that's correct.
Where you wear a suit sometimes.
Well,
Yep.
a sport jacket, yeah.
Sometimes you're thinner than others. Sometimes your face is fuller. Sometimes it's thinner. That kind of thing.
That's true, yeah. Occasionally. I put on a couple of pounds, then sometimes I take it off.
And then sometimes you take it off. You're a yo-yo dieter, so am I. That's why I love you. Got to get clothes from Quaker Factory. They have elastic waistbands, and they go all the way up to size 3XX. Quaker Factory.
I probably do need that.
Oh, they're lounge pants. So much fun. The appliques they put. There's Jesus. There's Santa Claus. There's Sheriff Arpaio. All kinds of things. It's wonderful.
Maybe this would be good for you since you are a politician and you're a sitting senator.
And I used to be a country singer. I used to be the First Lady of Country. Yep.
And you used to be the First Lady of Country. A listener of mine has put together a campaign ad, ostensibly for me to run for the Senate in a primary in New York State. And I thought maybe you could listen to it and give us a sense.
You sound like somebody on Bob's Burgers. My daughter loves Bob's Burgers. Did you ever? There's somebody that sometimes sounds like you on that Bob's Burgers. Is that you?
Not that I'm aware of. No. Yes, I mean it's not important. Here is an ad that was done by Craig Adolphia, the YouTuber.
Craig Adelphia.
Yeah, and
is he Greek?
I don't
Is that
know.
Greek fella?
It's possible.
Okay.
I can't read the name, but there it is. I mean, people can see it. And here's an ad they put together that splices together some of the audio from this show with some images, and perhaps maybe you could give me your feedback on this.
Sure.
Democrats have to get with the program and understand the Democrats have to get with the program and understand the way this stuff works is you take the power and you use the power, even if it means you're going to lose the power. Congress, right, will control things like commerce, interstate commerce, and has responsibility for the general welfare. You're not going to raise taxes on the bottom 20%. And it's absurd. It's silly. It's dumb. Medicare for all would go a long way to make people's lives that much better. I went out actually with those two guys for a drink the other night. I didn't pay. So that's the only thing I care about. I mean, frankly, I didn't have to pay. So how's that? People are ready for me. and I'm ready for them. This is the problem with politics, that it's all focus group driven. It's like what happened in the candidate. The campaign manager comes in and starts to corrupt the guy. Now, here's the thing, and I've been saying this for 2 years. Once you get in, the left is going to start a civil war in this country. The majority will impose its will on the rest of the country. This is a threat. This is a threat.
Like a secession threat.
It is a civil war threat. Right? We have two choices. One is to embrace government, or there's going to be violence. That's the choices that we have, America. That's it. There's my viewpoint. Either you start letting states discriminate and create a race to the bottom, or there's going to be violence. The only thing that should give you any type of hope, although it's still incredibly disturbing, we're going to reduce, or we're going to land on an idea of government and the most appropriate size of government that maintains the order of power that I benefit from. The Chuck stops here. I'm Sam Seder, and I approve of this message. Now, I have to say, Cindy Hyde-Smith, that those some of my words were edited out of context.
Can I say, listen to me, I fell asleep mostly, but I did perk up a bit when I heard civil war and violence. I heard those words. Now, here's the problem with that ad, the music. Oh, my God. You need to get, like, maybe the Atlanta Rhythm section, or maybe the Charlie Daniels Band, or maybe even Bo Cephas, Hank Williams Jr., Bo Cephas. Get that music, or Ted Nugent, something. My goodness, it was, other than that, I sort of liked some of the words I was hearing, but I mostly fell asleep. I'm sorry.
I guess
that's what I would have to say.
So you would say, okay, because an audience member made the video, and I just wanted to get you as a sitting U.S. senator and obviously a candidate for re-election.
Like I said, some of the words I perked up, but I mostly was asleep. But I perked up when I heard civil war and violence and threat. I like the sound of that. And now don't everybody's got to apologize. She likes those 3 words. Yeah, I like those 3 words. Everybody likes those 3 words. That's why they're in the dictionary. If people didn't like those words, they wouldn't be in the dictionary, would they?
That's
they
not
just would. They
actually
just would
how
go
the
out
dictionary.
of fashion. They go out of fashion like a hoop skirt.
Yeah, that's not how the dictionary works.
What?
That's not how the dictionary works.
Well, yeah. Why don't you tell me how the dictionary works then?
Well,
how does it work?
Well, there's a committee that assesses whether a word is entered the lexicon enough to warrant it being included in the dictionary.
Yeah, what did I just say? I said people love the words. They're very popular. That's why they exist in a bound volume. If people didn't like the words, threat, violence, civil war, they'd go away. Yeah, they wouldn't be in a book. They'd be in maybe on a wax cylinder somewhere at the Smithsonian between Archie Bunker's chair and Fonzie's jacket, something like that.
No, that's not how it works.
I don't.
People
you know what?
don't like
this is
plagues.
already. I'm so mad. I don't have my Quaker Factory clothes coming to me. This has been such a disappointing phone call. I don't even know how this happened. How in the world your number and QVC are the same number? I don't even know how. I'm sitting here talking to some fella named Liev or whatever the hell your name is. I don't even understand what's happening. You're in Brooklyn.
Well,
my phone almost dropped on the floor.
All right. Well, listen, Cindy Hyde-Smith, we've got to move into the fun half of the program. And
I bet it's a real thrill, the fun half. Lucky listeners. So fun. So much fun.
Well, we think it is.
Well, thank you for having me on the dull half, then.
What? What are you going to do? I mean...
I guess nothing.
All right. Well,
I guess thanks for nothing. I think you should apologize to me. At this point, I'm waiting.
I want to wish you.
I'll sit here all day. All
right. Well, listen. I would like to wish you good luck, but I can't do that. I don't want you to win.
Why?
Well, I frankly,
sexist. You're sexist, like those sexist ageist people against Nancy Pelosi. Sexist ageist.
Well,
you're sexist ageist. That's your problem with me, is that I'm a woman who's 59 years young. That's how I call it. 50. That's a new 58, by the way, P.S.
I got news for you. It's you. Yeah, okay.
What?
Nothing.
Why don't you just continue yo-yo dieting and getting on the TV? You do that, why don't you?
I will. Cindy Hyde-Smith, it's been a real pleasure talking to you.
Okay, well, you got a piece of my colon, I guess. I'll leave you with that. I guess that's all I can say.
All right, well, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back in the
then good luck with the fun half. Have fun. Have fun on the fun half.
We will. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Okay, I'm going.
Folks, just a reminder, you can support this program. We will take your calls and more in the fun. I have to take a break. I've been drinking a lot of fluids. We're going to take a quick break, head into the fun half, wherein we will take your calls. Maybe we'll hear from another special guest. You can support this program by becoming a member at jointhemajority.report.com. Join the Majority Report, just a couple of bucks a week. Keeps the free show trucking along, and as a way of saying thank you, we give you extra content every day. JoinTheMajorityReport.com. Don't forget, check out TMBS. You can do so on iTunes or on our YouTube channel. Also, or Patreon. Same with the Antifada. Check it out. Patreon.com/the-Antifada. Don't forget, folks, we are doing, Michael's doing his live show in February. We are doing the Majority Report live January 13th. It's a Sunday, 2:30 p.m. You can find a link to the tickets on our website at majority.fm or just Google Brooklyn Podfest, Majority Report. Where are we doing it again? At the Bell House. So check that out. Also, Matt, what's happening with...
Yeah, so you could say more and more people are talking about Catherine Maria Sedgwick because about over 1,000 people have downloaded my narrations for that, which is probably more people than have read that book in a long, long time, just that in of itself. So check that out, Catherine Maria Sedgwick, and then we're going to move on to some more interesting things, or some different interesting things in the next couple weeks.
Okay, folks, quick break. Fun half. Be right back.
You are in for it.
All right, folks, 646-257-3920. See you in the fun half.
Are you ready?
Who sent us this?
Alpha males.